Hey guys, I wanted to show you how much of a difference a good relic can make in the ease of clearing a dungeon. So we get offered Reflective Chain, which is one of the strongest alliance relics that you can get. And it has really good synergy with these footmen here. So starting out, you're going to defend the left with the Safe Pilot. You want to incite Berserk on these units so they attack each other when they hit 70% health. This is going to preserve health on our tower. On the right here, we have Tyrion moving forward. It's going to help us secure the chest. And the Reflective Chain is going to do work here as the units are going to do damage as they attack my Alliance units. And the more Alliance units you have stacked together, the more damage that they're going to take from Reflect. So we're going to exploit this by having as many Alliance units as possible with Footmen, because you spawn 4 of them, you have a lot more. Now these Ogre and Magi are going to make short work of our Footmen because they are armored and they do not take reduced magic damage, they take reduced physical damage, and then Ogre Magi do magic damage. But fortunately, they still take reflect damage, which is going to soften them up, and it's going to make it a lot easier to take this tower. And they're going to do enough damage to remove themselves from the map, so we're going to be able to easily take this tower on the right. We don't even have to take the left side here because this Reflect Chain talent is incredibly powerful. But we will secure the chest, and we will try and deny them as much gold on the left here as possible. Now we're going to support with Tyrion on the right to keep our footmen healthy, but we have Holy Nova in hand so that we can do a little bit of extra damage, remove these Defias and the Kobold. We have the Renew talent, which is really strong in this particular dungeon because none of the bosses will use anything that will automatically remove your units. Now, if you aren't offered like Leeching Poison as your second relic, it might be better to take Inner Fire for the second boss just to give your footmen a little bit better resistance against his magic, anti-magic breath. Otherwise, your footmen might get removed very quickly. Now, you can see here at a -3 level disadvantage on my base, that Ogre Mage took out about 50% of its health. So we didn't really need to defend here, but it is important to make sure that they're not split pushing you and not get caught and ultimately killed. We've hit Death Ball status here, so we have multiple healers, we have multiple footmen. You can see none of their health is really moving, and it was an easy dub. We get offered Worn Tome, which is really good with Jaina, and it's a solid pick overall, but we're going to take Leeching Poison because it has insane synergy with Reflective Chain, and it's just really good in general with your strong melee picks. We're going to use Whelp Eggs here to deflect the initial push, because again, we want to preserve as much health on our tower as possible. Now, the synergy that you will see between Reflective Chain and Leeching Poison is that any reflected damage counts for healing your units. So effectively, your units are invulnerable. And you're going to see how insane that is in this push here. If you get offered these 2 relics, it's basically a slam dunk instant victory. I think you could do this -6 levels, maybe even -7 if you're patient enough. Now we're going to try and push the right tower here because we want to try and build up enough time so we can cycle back to our footmen and make a massive push on the dog, Imulthar. And we're going to try and clear this Ogre Magi with a Safe Pilot, but it doesn't really even matter because, as I said before, the Reflective Magic plus the Leeching Poison is going to make it so our footmen are not even taking damage from magic damage. You're going to see that here when our push crashes into Imulthar and our units are not dying. Ordinarily, they would die very quickly. See, they take 0 damage. And Imulthar he's just going to melt to death. This is one of the fastest clears I've done, and I'm -4 levels. You can see effectively here, my footmen are level 19 and he's level 23, -4. Now, these final relics are not really that important. I take Prospector's Mitts because it has the greatest synergy. It allows me to snowball a little bit faster. But as you'll see here, this is the least impactful of the bosses, particularly if you have a strong relic set. Ordinarily here, you'd want to take both of the bosses out on the left and the right here, the Elf Mage on the right for the slow effect that it applies to the boss, and the Ogre on the left here because he applies a Mortal Strike debuff that effectively reduces the amount of healing that Chorush, the blue Ogre, applies to the Gordok King. So on the left here, we're only going to be taking the left because we want that Mortal Strike debuff to reduce the amount of healing that it's going to do. I don't really think that it's impactful because ultimately I end up having to kill the Ogre Mage anyway, but it still is, I think, a little bit more useful overall. Maybe I should have just taken the the elf mage anyway, but as you'll see here, I didn't even need to take the elf mage because that's how powerful this relic is. Now you should try to continue to mine out these mines on the right and left with your kobolds and deny their kobolds as much as possible, just to accelerate the progression of this map. I ended up accidentally taking the middle tower, but I still think it's a good thing because it allows me to supplement my push here. You see I have 12 footmen now, and we're going to be supplementing them with more healers, though honestly, in retrospect, with leeching poison and the melee lifesteal, I didn't really need to make more healers. I should have just been cycling my cheapest units and getting as many alliance units forward as possible. And you can see here that this is just a slam dunk from this point. I'm taking 0 damage on any of my units because any damage he does is instantly healed with the leeching poison. If you have the 25% armor, that would be effective as well. And the ogre behind him is slowly taking damage. I'm going to crash a save pilot just to expedite this a little bit. He's actually, the ogre king is not really taking that much damage overall, I would say. But once this ogre dies, he's going to be taking a lot more damage. The healing that the ogre mage behind him does is just insane. And unfortunately, it's going to take a little bit of time to grind him down. But as you can see, I've reached a point where he can't even spawn units to affect me anymore. I do check every once in a while, but generally speaking, on this map, it's really easy because they spawn all of the enemy units in the center middle, so they're going to instantly aggro on the death ball here in the middle. And yeah, this was one of the easiest clears I've had, particularly at -4 levels. You know, it's average -3, but effectively it's -4 because my good units, Tyrion, Footmen, and Shaman were -4. And I think I could have gone all the way -7 if I had supporting units that were good enough. You'll see here when I show my deck that my average level was 19.7. And to give you a frame of reference here, I ran this before on level 22, and it took me 10 attempts. This took me 1 attempt and 8 minutes. So a good relic can make a massive difference. So thank you all for watching. Hope to catch you all on the flip side, and good luck on your dungeon runs in the future. Take it easy. Peace.